Hello YouTube, I'm Tim and welcome to part 1 of my Blu-ray update for March 2021, and it'll be a really short update. So, because I don't have that many Blu-rays that I bought this month, I've got a couple more coming, but I have been collecting more vintage Star Wars toys made by Kenner. So it'll pretty much just be vintage Kenner Star Wars action figures for Star Wars Toy Collecting Episode 6, which will follow this short Blu-ray update. So if you're into Star Wars and Star Wars toys, stick around for Star Wars Toy Collecting Episode 6 following this March Blu-ray update Part 1. This is a DVD I already own. It hadn't had a Blu-ray release. The Blue Underground just put this out on DVD a while back. Not much inside of it. And for the extras on the Blue Underground DVD, you only get a couple trailers. Just the international trailer and the US theatrical trailer. Well, recently, Vinegar Syndrome released Forgotten Gialli Volume 3, which contains the Blu-ray version of Autopsy, along with the Spanish horror film Murder Mansion, and both of those films are dubbed into English. And then you get a third movie, which is a bit more obscure, Crazy Desires of a Murderer, which was never dubbed into English, so that's subtitled in English. Let's open this sucker up. So, the DVD edition of Autopsy put out by Blue Underground some years back, and now the Blu-ray put out by Vinegar Syndrome. It's a film by Armando Crispiano. A wave of sudden violent suicides have gripped Rome and are being blamed on Sunspots. Simona or Simona, a young pathologist with an unhealthy obsession with death, has become increasingly interested in the strange phenomenon, but with the discovery of the body of a young woman, an apparent victim of a self-inflicted gunshot, Simona finds herself thrust into a terrifying mystery and conspiracy to cloak actual murders as suicides, and the nearer she comes to unraveling the truth, the more in danger she is to entering the sights of a deranged killer who might be closer to home than she realizes. An expertly directed and at times staggeringly brutal thriller from Armando Crispiano, The Dead Are Alive. Autopsy, which was made under the title Sunspots and released internationally as The Victim, stars Mimsy Farmer, Four Flies on Grey Velvet, and Barry Primus, New York, New York, and Ray Lovelock, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, and then he was in the movie version of Fiddler on the Roof. So he's done some mainstream. He was in some mainstream movies as well, featuring stunning photography from veteran Italian DP Carlo Carlini, The Blood-Stained Butterfly, an acclaimed score from Ennio Morricone, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Ennio Morricone was another film composer that did both B-grade and mainstream Hollywood film scores. Vinegar Syndrome is proud to bring Autopsy to Blu-ray, fully uncensored, and features its complete English and Italian language audio tracks fully intact. So this is the unrated cut, which is the uncut version. It was released R-rated in the US as Autopsy, but then released uncut overseas as The Victim. Newly scanned and restored in 2K from its 35mm original negative, includes both the English and Italian language dubbed soundtracks, archival theatrical introduction with director Armando Crispiano, editing and rhythm, an interview with editor Danielle Alazbizin or Alazbizo, Danielle Alizbian Alizbo, and the autopsy papers, an interview with Francisco Crispiano, film historian and son of director Armando Crispiano, Black Hole Sun, featurette on the career of director Armando Crispiano, and then original theatrical trailer, alternate Italian titles and credits, reversible cover art, and newly translated English subtitles. Directed by Armando Crispiano, starring Mimsy Farmer, Barry Primus, Ray Lovelock, and Carlo Catanino. 1975, 100 and... I think that says 100 minutes. Either 100 or 160? I don't know. Yeah, it should be 100 minutes. 1.85 widescreen, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, regions A, B, and C. So it looks like maybe it only has one theatrical trailer, unless they're only listing one trailer, and it's got both the US trailer and the international trailer. So Autopsy, part of Vinegar Syndrome's Forgotten Gialli Volume 3. And the second one, this is one that's been out in bootleg DVDs from public domain DVD labels, Murder Mansion, Spanish horror movie dubbed into English. On a dark and foggy night in the countryside, a group of apparent strangers all find themselves stranded at an old Gothic mansion, deciding to spend the night and look for help the following morning. The group pair off for bed as the night wears on, increasing increasingly strange events begin to occur, culminating in a murder. Tensions and suspicions rise, and fear mounts that the ghosts of the mansion have risen from the grave, especially when more bodies turn up. But is the explanation behind these ghastly events truly supernatural? One of the best and most effective combinations of mid-60s style gothic Euro horror and early 70s flavored giallo intrigue. Francisco Laura Paula Spanish-Italian co-production Murder Mansion, originally titled The Mansion in the Fog, became a drive-in and late-night TV hit in the US during the mid-70s. Never legally released in the US on disc, Vinegar Syndrome proudly presents the Blu-ray premiere of Murder Mansion, newly restored in 4K from its original negative, and includes its original Spanish soundtrack along with its English and nearly impossible to find Italian dubs. Special features newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 35mm original negative includes the original Spanish language soundtrack with new English translations as well as the English and Italian dubs. Italian dub is not translated. Okay. And then you get Lady of the Mansion, an interview with actress Ida Jolly, or Gali, also known as Evelyn Stewart. Reversible cover art, newly translated English subtitles, directed by Francisco Laura Pop, starring Evelyn Stewart, Ana Leah Gade, Lisa Leonardi, Andreas Racino, and Iela Marina. I can't pronounce that woman's name. And from 1972, 86 minutes, color 1.85 widescreen, English is mono, and subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing in regions A, B, and C. And I think this movie's rated R. I could be wrong, but I think it's a mild R-rated Euro film, horror film. So Murder Mansion. And then the last one, a film by Filippo Walter Ratti, Crazy Desires of a Murderer. I thought that was a syringe that lady was holding because I thought she was a nurse, but she looks like she's a maid holding a knife. Crazy Desires of a Murderer. The Countessa Liana has just returned to her family's grand old castle where her paralyzed father, an apparent clairvoyant, and strange younger brother with an unhealthy interest in taxidermy reside. Almost immediately after arriving, one of Ileana's friends who is visiting the castle is shockingly murdered and has her eyes plucked out of their sockets. While suspicion falls on Ileana's brother, a curious police inspector, Sicilian character actor Corrado Gaiba of The Godfather and My Dear Killer begins to investigate, believing there to be more to the killing than meets the eye. However, his sleuthing proves no match for this maniac, as the body count steadily rises. A delirious mix of gothic horror, sex drama, murder mystery, plus a whole lot of extracted eyeballs. Filippo Walter Ratti's crazy desires of a murderer, though known in Italy as the much more lurid, the morbid vices of a housekeeper, remains one of the forgotten treats of the late 70s giallo cinema. Never released theatrically in the English-speaking world, and virtually unavailable on home video, Vinegar Syndrome is delighted to bring this trashy rarity to Blu-ray, newly restored in 4K from its 35mm negative. And this is from 1977, 89 minutes, color 1.85 widescreen, mono audio, English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing in regions A, B, and C. Yeah, newly scanned and restored in 4K from its 35mm original negative. Crazy memories of an actor, an interview with actor Giuseppe Colombo. Reversible cover art, newly translated English subtitles, directed by Filippo Walter Ratti, starring Corrado Gaiba, Roberto Zattini, Isabel Marchal, and Annie Carol Edel. So, Crazy Desires of a Murderer. And that's all that's in Forgotten Gialli, Volume 3. Just 3 different European horror movies, 2 that got released to theaters and home video here in the US, and 1 that never got a release here in the US. And they all come in this box. So that was all I was going to have for part 1, but then I had a little bit more money, and one movie I haven't seen before, they had for a really low price on Amazon Prime, Steve McQueen movie Bullet. Stars Robert Vaughn and Jacqueline Bisset, along with Don Gordon, Robert Duvall, Simon Oakland, and Norman Fell. Before the night is out, the star witness for an important trial lies dying, and Detective Frank Bullet Steve McQueen won't rest until the shooters and the kingpin behind them are nailed. From opening shot to closing shootout, Bullet cracks with authenticity. San Francisco locations, crisp dialogue, and to-the-letter police, hospital and morgue procedures. An Oscar winner for the best film editing in 1968, this edgy thriller features one of cinema history's most memorable car chases. Buckle up for an unbelievable action. And this is from Warner Brothers, and it's rated PG. English subtitles for the main feature only. Features not rated. 114 minutes. It's 1080p, high definition 16:9, widescreen at 2.41. Special features and partially in 1080p high definition, partially 480i or 480p standard definition. Audio is Dolby Digital English 2.0 and French and Spanish 1.0, special features stereo 5.1, or is that 25? Or it says 2S or mono subtitles in English, French, and Spanish, and no subtitles for special features. Now, classic car chase, one of the screen's all-time best. Leonard Maltin's movie guide special features commentary by director Peter Yates. 2 feature-length documentaries, Steve McQueen, The Sense of Cool, and The Cutting Edge, The Magic of Movie Editing in 1080p high definition, and 5.1 audio, and vintage featurette Bullet, Steve McQueen's commitment to reality, and you get the original, and you get the theatrical trailer. So it's almost 21 minutes. I will do a recap. I've had this Blue Underground DVD of Autopsy, and from Vinegar Syndrome I got Forgotten Gialli Volume 3, which contains the Blu-ray of Autopsy and the Blu-ray of Murder Mansion. So, Blu-rays of Autopsy and Murder Mansion, 2 English dubbed European horror gialli films, and the English subtitled European horror gialli, never released before in the US, Crazy Desires of a Murderer. So that's all from Vinegar Syndrome. And then from Amazon Prime, the Blu-ray of Bullet starring Steve McQueen. So that's it for part 1 of my Blu-ray update for March 2021. Keep an eye out for part 2 coming soon, because I have a couple more Blu-rays coming in the mail. So now on to Star Wars Toy Collecting Episode 6. So if you came just for the Blu-ray update, that's over with. But if you want to stick around for some Star Wars toy collecting, keep watching. And one thing I got off of eBay was a Star Wars vintage Kenner toy spaceship shown in the movie The Empire Strikes Back. The Cloud City twin pod cloud car, and didn't have any action figures to pilot it, so I have a vintage Kenner Bespin Leia piloting one side, and I have a 2001 Hasbro Star Wars Carbon Freeze chamber playset that included a Bespin security guard, so I got him to pilot the other side. And I believe, yeah, those things fold in, so now it can fly around. Okay, have it land. And, as a surprise, the eBay seller threw in a vintage Kenner Bespin security guard figure. He has a little bit of paint rub on him, but otherwise he's in decent shape, and I bought some action figure stands for these Kenner vintage Star Wars figures. So, here. Pull these legs out so this vehicle can be parked. have that guy talking to that guy. And then I've got these action figure stands I bought off the eBay seller. I put my retro collection Lando Calrissian figure on a stand. Have him talking to Leia as she's piloting the other side of the ship. And then recently, I've been collecting the first 12 Kenner Star Wars action figures. And I've got 11 of the first 12 so far, and I've put them on stands. So, I'll show you what I've got. I've had this vintage farm boy Luke for a while. And I put a reproduction lightsaber in there that's blue colored, and this glows in the dark. And then from an eBay seller, I bought vintage Princess Leia that has her cape, but no weapon. And I bought Han Solo. He's got his gun. And then I've got the Death Squad commander with his weapon. So now him and Han Solo can have a shooting contest at each other. And then I got this Chewbacca a while back with one of my other eBay Star Wars buys. But no weapon for him. And then I had, of course, bought complete Darth Vader figure. And Obi-Wan Kenobi action figure. So now they can have a lightsaber duel. And I've got one I've had since I was a kid, but I don't have the cape anymore, is a Jawa. Yeah, I don't have the cloth cloak anymore. And then I've got an R2-D2, but I should have gotten some bigger action figure stands because this stand is a little bit too small for him. And then I've got some stormtroopers. Got a few vintage Kenner figure stormtroopers with their guns, and then I've got some reproduction stormtroopers, so I'm able to army build. And then I've got the retro collection Boba Fett that I put on a stand. And I've got original Greedo, that I bought from a seller, but I didn't have a gun for him, so I just I've got some reproduction weapons, so I just got a little reproduction gun out, and I put him on this modern Jawa action figure stand, so now he he and Boba Fett can have a little laser battle. And a while back I bought Bosk, the bounty hunter, with his weapon, but I don't have him on a stand yet. I'm waiting to get C-3PO figure. So I'll have the first 12, and I've got Jedi Knight Luke. He didn't have any weapons or anything, or even a cape, and I had someone donate a cape. And I've got reproduction Jabba's Palace Blaster and a reproduction green lightsaber for him. So now he can have a little battle with Bosk, but I don't have them on stands yet because I don't have a vintage C-3PO yet. And I've got more of these star stands that I bought off of an eBay seller recently. Gonna put, once I get a C-3PO, I will put C-3PO on one of these stands. So, here's some of my vintage Star Wars figures that I bought recently. Getting close to getting the first 12, plus a few extra figures, and the twin pod cloud car from Cloud City from The Empire Strikes Back. And there's Jedi Knight Luke fighting Bosk and Greedo, vintage Greedo, and a modern Hasbro retro collection Boba Fett shooting it out, and then Han and the Death Squad commander having a little shooting battle, and Darth and Obi-Wan having a lightsaber battle, and then you just see the Stormtrooper and Jawa and R2-D2 in the background, and Leia and Luke in the background, and then Bespin and Leia piloting one part of the twin pod car, and then I have Retro Collection Lando on a star stand talking to Leia, and then modern Hasbro Bespin security guard is piloting the other half of the twin pod car, and vintage Bespin security guard is talking to the modern security guard piloting the other half of the Cloud City twin pod car. So that's it for part 6 of Star Wars toy collecting. I hope that was fun. I need to get a new pair of glasses soon. These are getting dirty, and I could see a lot better with some newer glasses. So, thanks for watching.